about the entry line for dogs coming into the weep holes and how our positioning and their training can make a difference on how they enter the weep holes. So when you're looking at your dog entering the weep holes, first off, know that I call this, the poles 1 through 3, the load zone. So where they load and how they load through here matters to me, and how they enter this first pole and their braking system coming into poles 1 and 2. I like to pay attention to how my positioning and their understanding of braking works within these first 2 poles. My ideal braking position for my dogs is before pole 1. I want to see them brake somewhere about maybe 3 feet prior to pole 1. I want to see them start to decel to appropriately enter poles 1 and 2. If I am behind my dog, generally speaking, my dog is going to brake before pole 1. But I'm still training him, and he still needs to understand that if I go beyond pole 1 and 2, that he needs the same braking system. And he's still struggling with that. A lot of times, buddy, can you move? Can we move you? Thank you. A lot of times, dogs will brake between poles 1 and 2, so they'll brake somewhere in here. Some dogs will even go right through poles 1 and 2 and put their braking right here. And that is them slamming into pole 3. So we want to pay attention to where our dog is braking. And in the early days, and with more arousal, more drive, more excitement, that can change over time depending on where we are. So a lot of times you will see me decel prior to the weep holes to encourage him to decel, but we are also still training that I can keep running and he has to decel on his own. When dogs are coming in at speed into these weep holes, our position matters. If I'm behind him, showing him a little bit of decel, I will allow him to also put on a little bit of decel before pole 1. But if I accelerate up to pole 1 and then put on my braking system, or don't put on my braking system at all, then he will likely want to decel in here, put on his braking system in here, or even in here on this side of the weep holes. Or if he's not skilled, my pulling him beyond pole 1 will cause him to bypass pole 2 and enter into poles 2 and 3. So where I'm at matters. In the early days, I want to have him understand that he's going into the weep holes, but decel enough to allow him to enter the load zone and pay particular attention to where he's entering. So I break these down into 3 sections of between the weep holes. I like them to enter here or here. If my dog is entering here and hitting pole 2, then generally they were almost about to miss and enter between pole and 3. So ideally my goal is between here and here. This is my ideal, this is my second ideal, this is my third, not even really an ideal. When we're looking at them weaving the full set of weave poles, do they push this pole out and enter in my first third? Or do they bounce? Some dogs bounce midsection. Or are they compounding a problem and potentially entering on the inside of the pole, which will cause them to progressively potentially get their footwork out of order, which a lot of times will cause them to pull out. So when we're working on speed coming in, just pay attention to your first 4 poles. That is the load zone, and those are the areas that you want to increase. You don't need to have them do all 12 weave poles. We just want to get them focused on the entries, poles 1, 2, 3, and 4. They can get into 4, then they're usually golden for the rest of the weave poles. So pay attention to where they're braking. Do they brake here? Do they brake here? Or do they brake here?